back. So we'll call the meeting to order. John, I sent you 4 minutes.
I'll move that we approve the minutes as presented, and they were for, let me pull up.
I have it here, June 4th, June 30th, July 22nd, and July 28th.
Okay, I move we approve the 4 sets of minutes.
Okay, and I second that.
Okay,
I guess that's good. I vote too. All right, great. So the next agenda item was to discuss the agreement and next steps. So we did get one person who's actually on advisory, just so you, who made many comments on the plan. So I thought we'd just go through one by one. I'm willing to write up as we go through our responses. And
so Lynn, I just want to confirm that was the only set of comments, nothing else from anyone else?
That's all I received, so I assume so. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And the comment period is officially closed, right? I think I had August 25th down. Is that
correct?
Okay, great. Thank you.
So
all right. So go ahead.
Ask this, do we want to answer every comment, or do we want to give a general response to a group and pick out the ones that really, require an answer?
Well, I think we need to go through one by one to determine that, but I don't think one of them is a whole series of things together. And I don't know if Denise and Mark have updated the plan at all. So I'd like to have a response for each one.
And I'm happy to provide. I've gone through this, Lynn, and I just want to have a general discussion. So the Department of Public Utilities on this is starting to get really specific on regulation, and I'm a little bit concerned. So I want to give you an exact example. So the city of Boston, their chief energy, his name is Chief of Energy and Open Space, his name is Christopher Cook. He had a couple of points that he wanted to make known to the Department of Public Utilities. Unfortunately, because he submitted those thoughts, he could have had them in the plan. He decided he didn't want them implemented in the plan. But because he submitted those comments into the what I'll call a docket, the Department of Public Utilities, we had 3 sets of questions, 3 different times. The first one they asked for what his comments were. He made the comments, just these overriding goals of the program. In the second round of questions, they asked that we put them in. We respectfully declined. We did not want that level of detail and specificity in the plan. On round 3, they asked again. We said that is not the city's wishes to have them implemented. These are goals that we're trying to meet outside of the plan for reasons that the city knew. In the order, the Department of Public Utilities said, insert the comments in the plan. The city did not wish to have those comments in the plan. And this, I would like to have a sit down with. I'm happy to go out in person or do another Zoom. I would like to have this conversation with him in that manner so that he gets the full answer to each one of his questions, because some of it he doesn't understand what we're doing here, right? He thinks it's like a contract, right? Just from reading his questions, he believes this is more of a contract than it is actually kind of the what I'll call the Constitution. I mean, this is the kind of the bylaws, not a contract. We don't need anyone to sign off on anything in the plan. It's questions to the ESA I would agree with. I just want to be super cautious around what we're going to do here, because it is going to bring scrutiny by the Department of Public Utilities. And
well, okay.
More and more.
It was my understanding that these were comments to Don Lowe and the selectmen, and that we would respond to them, that when we present the plan to the selectmen, we will also present our responses to Tim. And many of them may be exactly what you said. That's not what we do here.
That's an I want to apologize. I'm going to take back So this is to the select board, not to the plan itself. These questions are posed to the select board in a public meeting, so to speak.
Yes, that's what I thought the purpose of the comments were, that we address the comments and we put them in the plan where appropriate, where we think, okay, there might be a couple changes to the plan that we could make, but otherwise we just explain why we're not doing it.
I just want to, Mark, remind you that those minutes will be also filed with the plan for the Board of Selectmen meeting. So any backup that's put in the public forum will get filed.
And some of the things that he asked about, who are the parties that discuss this? Well, we have the minutes from the selectmen meeting where we made a decision on going with Colonial Power Group. So that's documented there. And we can refer to all of those minutes on this document. Now, is it expected that the comments be submitted at all with the plan?
So the comments from the public need to be submitted, as well as any responses provided to the person making the comments. There's a special section now in the filing where both have to be included. If responses aren't given to the person asking, making the comments, we need to explain why responses weren't provided.
Okay.
So in the past, a lot of people, with other communities, a lot of people make comments, please incorporate as much renewable content as is cost effective. These are comments that don't necessarily warrant a response. It's just input from the public. So the comments would get filed. No response was required. If comments are submitted that, warrant a response, the department's going to expect to see a response back from either Colonial or from the town. Certainly, we could give that response. We could say that response was verbal via a phone conversation separately, but we do have to kind of provide something.
There is so much detail in these questions that I think Mark's suggestion about having a meeting with this gentleman whose name has just whipped right out of my head, but from is it Tim Kirshner? Don't know what
Yes.
his first name is. Tim.
Yeah.
Because some of it, as I mentioned, I think in my note that it was so legalistic. Like you say that it's not going to cost the town anything, but the town has to send out a mailing. That's obviously going to be costly. So some of those things I think could be explained to him.
That's not a cost borne by the city. There will be mailing, but it will be borne by the supplier, and we can explain all of that.
Okay, yeah.
So I wonder if no financial cost to the city, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the costs were, but their lawyer, I guess there would be some time for the lawyer. But I mean, so is it worth trying to respond in writing to him, or is it?
I think the concern with the writing that Mark is putting on the table, just raises, I agree, Lynn, we need some response, but maybe since it's one person and it's his personal pieces, to this, I think maybe a phone conversation with him, might be warranted here. And I think what we can say is we've reviewed all his responses here. And to me, I think there's a couple of minor points that might need corrections. But for the most part, we've taken them under advisement, and it is not changing. We do not see the need to make any changes to the plan. He pointed out some of the same things I did as to what's the population, what's what's the number of households being served. Okay, so we've addressed that. But I don't think there's anything that we want to change in the plan based on the comments that have been made. So, I've reviewed the comments, you've reviewed the comments, the three of us have. And Mark, you're saying, or I'm going to ask you the question, is there anything of substance here that we need to take under consideration to make changes to the plan on?
I don't see anything that will require us to make changes. If it's okay with the Energy Committee, I'd like to have the discussion with the gentleman to make sure he is also in agreement with us. But I don't see any, I think it's just more of an educational process, because he certainly seems like he knows municipal, how municipal works and how things actually flow. So I think once we have a conversation, an hour and a half, I think he'll have this fold and understand why we do what we do.
So he's a former member of the Finance Committee, so he understands municipal. And I understand from Don that he used to work in, the electricity, field, at somehow. So he's got an understanding of both sides. So he's got some understanding of electricity, the way it works, and he's got an understanding of municipal government. So, he's got those two, and he's combining that history that he has on both topics, and that's why he's asking these questions. So I think, I like your idea, that instead of trying to go through and pinpoint a specific answer to each of these, I think sometimes a conversation is much preferred than trying to respond to things in writing.
Yeah.
I think your point here that whatever we put in writing could potentially create, another month, 2 months delay, at the state level on answering questions. So,
possible.
So I don't want to do that either. So, but I don't want to just, give the gentleman short shrift on, the questions he's asking. So, I think that sounds like, I appreciate your suggestion, and I think that might be the way to go, is to address that. And we should go through this, make sure there's nothing, that we want to change in the plan based on the comments he's made. That's the reason comments are made. And I did not pick anything out, although some of this is, a little gibberish to me, in understanding it all. And that's why we've hired you to give us that background.
Absolutely. Yep.
Could I make a suggestion here that that if Mark, if you do have this conversation with him, and I think that might be the best thing, because his questions will go to the state, should we ask him for a brief paragraph saying that he's had this conversation and he understands, something, so that they don't want to go through point by point and ask us what we've done about it. So we should have something on record from him saying, it's been explained to me, and maybe he might then say to you, well, number 14 really has to be changed, and you might agree, and so you come back and we change number 14. I'm making this up, of course, but to complete the circle, so that this does not just show up as a very, very thoughtful, very detailed commentary on which we have decided not to act. I don't want it to look like that when it gets to the state.
Agreed. And I like the idea, if he's willing to do it, that, we've talked through all the issues here. I've actually responded to most of this. I have responses here because I wanted to make sure that we were prepared. But I think it's a very wise decision that Denise, and just help me out. We would just ask him for a response that there was in a Zoom meeting, or if he wants me to do a conference call or whatever, a phone call, that we walk through all the issues. Everything has been explained. He appreciates the time and effort to, come to resolution on all his issues. Something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for addressing the below in, the phone conversation on Tuesday, whatever. Yep. That would work.
I think it's a good, if the gentleman will take a phone call from you. I don't know if he works during the day. I meet him at night. I can call him at night. I know people don't meet today, but we could do a Zoom call. I can do whatever he'd like me to do.
Yeah.
I understand he's retired, so that's what I've been told. So I think just, trying to make contact with him and see what his availability is. And then
Well, I'll contact him and let him know that we're trying to set something up.
and then he can follow through by, attending the hearing, that's going to be held, at the selectmen's meeting. If he's not happy, he can certainly, make known at that point that he still has issues he wants to put on the table. And then the selectmen can determine whether they wish to address those. So I think our response here, I'm ready to say that, I've reviewed these and I don't see anything. They're all valid, good points to be made, but nothing here puts it forth for us to change the plan in any way that we have presented. So I think, we've certainly taken into consideration his comments. We believe we have answers, to, the questions he poses. And we're willing to, have that conversation to, have that discussion.
I think it's wise. I do.
I think that makes sense to me. He has spent a lot of time on this, and I really appreciate anybody who cares that much. And there may be some things in which he says, if you don't change this wording, it does not, it doesn't smell right or something. And it's possible to just change the wording a little bit. That's something Mark can agree to do. I realize that one of the reasons why we certainly like Colonial Power is that they've got these documents as, on their computers and they run them off. They've done this enough. But in our case,
come back
yeah.
to us unbendable on something, we'll just have to make a discussion around that point, whatever that is.
Yeah,
Sharon.
right,
I don't know what that would be, but to John's point, I don't want it to be 50, more than 5,000. I would prefer to go to households. We can change the wording on that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the world.
Yeah.
Well, I thought there were a
Good.
few places in there that were valid for clarification that I thought we could change, like that.
We
Number.
certainly can. It's just not what we've done in the past, but we could make the change. I need to ask one question of Denise. Denise, substantive, not substantive? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you feel like it's not, whether it's 1,800 households or 5,000 people, I don't feel like that's substantive. It's still serving the same amount of load.
No, yep, not substantive. I mean, they're going to see it. We have to redline. We're going to have to redline the town's plan against the last approved aggregation plan that came from the DPU through that was Colonial. So they'll see the change to our standard format, but it's not going to warrant any sort of reasoning why a change was made. It's not substantive. So.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, I that's really interesting. I had you just bringing it out that you talked about customers or consumers, and he's talking about how many meters, that each meter represents a consumer, and you were talking about human beings. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think way back
to him,
Right. I think at the beginning we used to do it by meters, but then there was confusion about people. Oh, there's more than that. There's more people than that in town. So we switched it to consumers because the average person associates with population in a town, as opposed, they don't think of it as meters, like Mark and I think of it because we're in it every day. So that's why we made the change, just to make it more easy to read for the public. But certainly we can make that change to households. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, or leave it. I mean, explain to him. Depends on how fussy he is about it. I think that there are probably issues within his critique, which are pretty legalistic, that he might care more about, but that Mark could explain. If you're willing to do it, this is one of the reasons why we're so happy that we're working with you. So, Mark, I want to really extend my appreciation. This has got to be a bit of a pain in the wazoo, but we're grateful. It's your wazoo and not ours. That- Is that a
No,
rude thing to say?
no, not at all. That's why you hired me. That kind of is what comes with the job. There is a question in here that gets a little further down the road, and I don't know. I mean, we're happy to provide it, but he asked questions about what the term is called the ESA. John, that's what I used to have you sign off on: electric service agreement, electric supply agreement, however you want to look at that. It's a legal document that is out there to protect the town and the townspeople. It's really a consumer protection. You know, they can't charge fees and those kind of things.
Mm.
I'm happy to show him the document, but I'm going to assume whatever we deliver, given what I've seen, he's going to have numerous comments on that. Now, that has been vetted by some 150 different communities, city solicitors and attorneys. Kind of, there's not saying there aren't changes that happen frequently, change in law, things that need updating and so forth. But if he wants to see it, it's a 32-page document that's not, it is much more specific. And I think it's going to generate a lot more questions, which I'm more than happy to discuss with the gentleman so that he understands that what we're trying to do in each piece, just given the amount of time and knowledge the gentleman has, I think it's worthwhile giving it to him earlier than later. I personally don't know I would give it to him, but just given his interest, it's something I think he's interested in. I'm happy to have the discussion. It's just, if he's going to want to make changes, that's something that you're going to want to have reviewed, is all I'm saying. Because every one of our suppliers will need to review those changes as well.
Yeah. Is there a way that you could simply say, this is a document which we have revised over our considerable experience with this much input from this many professional people, and we would actually rather not choose to share that with you, or trust us on this?
Well, I think I just read, well, this is just me. It is a public document, so I think you can restrict it. I'll blame
okay.
John on that one. I apologize, John. But I think I'm better off giving him that doc during our meeting and say, hey, take a look at this. You have questions, call me directly and let us just walk through it. You know what I'm saying? Let us just back and forth through it rather than kind of through the select board, if you will, or through the energy committee, so that I can get him the answers he needs. Now, if he has something that we feel like that needs, things get changed. Denise, the last round at the Department of Public Utilities, they had a change. Is that correct?
Yeah, they have a change every round. And actually, if we're being honest, the DPU just issued an order in another town with another consultant that now says, going forward from this point, the ESA must be posted during the public review period, along with the other documents for public review. Obviously, Bolton posted their information before that came out from the department. So, I mean, it is a document that should be posted going forward. So there's no harm in sharing. Although I do agree, Mark, there's going to be a lot of on that contract.
But I'm comfortable. So I've talked through that document probably 60 times with 60 different attorneys and so forth. I'm very comfortable talking through that document, but I just want you to know it's as long as you're comfortable. I think it's worthwhile to get it out of the way now, check the box, and then I think we make him part of our team, not against us, because there's nothing, we're not trying to hide anything.
Yeah,
I agree.
Sounds good.
Okay, so next steps is I'll set up a meeting with Tim and Mark to review, and Denise also, or?
Sure.
Okay. And I'll plan to attend that as well, to review the comments and discuss.
And if he wants to use Zoom, I don't know, Lynn, we have a Zoom account. I'm happy to give you the link, or I can, if you send me 4 o'clock on Tuesday, I can set it up or whatever. Happy
Okay.
whoever wants to join. if I don't know how tired people are, but if they're looking for a snoozer, you could certainly log in.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yes.
Well, we can't have a quorum, right? So,
No, right.
and we have to do it before the selectmen's meeting, which is what, the 10th? So we need to get that done within a week.
Mhm.
Gotcha. So Lynn, do you have some times that I might be able to, one second here, I'm just trying to go to my calendar. You and I might be able to, any night, tonight, tomorrow night, Thursday night,
Okay.
first thing in the morning, Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday. Most of my meetings don't start until around 10. My days are pretty full, but I do have some times at lunch,
Okay.
that I'd be willing to have that conversation on. And I know this is not common, but I'm going to work on getting a life, but I'm available all weekend too.
Well, I'm not.
Okay, I understand. I understand.
What's a
right.
weekend?
It's a holiday too.
I know, and I do understand. That's why I just wanted to say I'm more than willing to make myself available. I just don't want you guys to get to the 10th without having taken care of this issue.
Yeah.
And I did read that one of the last selectmen meeting, they did give Don Lowe authority to sign off on the contract. I read that in our local paper. So when the time comes, and I was a little concerned because it said Don Lowe now has the capability to sign off on the community choice aggregation agreement. And I'm like, oh, now people are going to go, when is that happening? Next week? I'm like, well, like in a year.
Yeah.
But we're ready. So that was good news.
Great news.
All right. So I'll set up that meeting. And I guess we should plan our next meeting, which would be after the selectmen meeting. So
If the selectmen approve the plan next Thursday night, what's the next step after that? Is it all in your hands at that point to submit to the state?
Correct.
Right, so we need a certified copy of those minutes. Then I can send all the documents to the DOER for the DOER's attorney will review. Then he'll set up a consultation. It'll be over the phone. This group can be on, or the town administrator, whoever you want to join. And it's going to be a 10-minute call where he just walks through the statute and makes sure the town's aware of, kind of what aggregation is. He'll review the documents. They should be in good order. We just had a couple calls the past 2 weeks. And then we'll compile and send on to the state.
I think, Lynn, our next meeting might be relative to that, because we're not going to have any action items, because basically Colonial is going to have to be putting all the, the documents together and submit to the state. So,
okay.
Unless something happens at this meeting, next Thursday, but if it goes according to the plan, which is approving the plan, then I think we can sit back and schedule a meeting when needed, based on Mark, getting back to you as to when we are needed for something.
So Denise, the certified copy of the minutes that you're speaking of the selectmen meeting on September 10th.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That may
And I think
take, yeah.
I think Jenny had sent me a list of we need all the public meeting minutes of anytime aggregation was discussed. I think I have a list up to a certain point, and then there's going to be, this meeting, that meeting, I'm going to need minutes of any meeting that happened since what she already sent me.
So do those meeting minutes have to be approved?
No, the only certified copy I need is for the Board of Selectmen vote.
But do those minutes need to be approved by the selectmen? Because that may push us out another month.
I don't think do they need to be approved in order to be published?
To be certified, I guess is what
need to be. Only the Board of Selectmen vote needs to be certified. The rest of the minutes for like this group and when they gave the town administrator authority to sign, that doesn't need to be certified.
So the vote has to be certified.
Thing that went on. discussions about aggregation.
But I think we should be good, Lynn, because it's only, the minutes, Jenny will probably prepare those within a week or two after the meeting. So once those are done, then it's the certified vote, which she'll have at that point as well, because she can get that the day after the meeting.
So it's a certified vote, not the minute. Okay, that's what I'm asking. Something had to be certified. So it's not the
Sorry.
minutes, it's the vote.
So the
Okay.
town-
No, I'm sorry, it is a certified copy of the minutes where they took the vote, but that's the only copy that needs to be certified. The minutes from all the other meetings that where aggregation was discussed, they don't need to be certified.
So
Okay,
that'll depend on what the town clerk will accept to certify the minutes.
yeah. So I'll talk to Jenny about that. Because that may
Yeah,
take up to a
unfortunately,
month.
we used
Yeah.
the DPU of just the vote certified, and now they've come back and said, nope, they want the full meeting minutes. So unfortunately, that does add a little time usually.
Okay. And I think Jenny's gotten you most of the minutes. I have 4 sets here that I'm working to get you all of the community choice aggregation minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So I guess I'll call this meeting adjourned.
Yeah, so Lynn, just let us know before next Thursday whether there's anything we need, depending on what your conversation with Mr. Kirchner is, if we need to, meet maybe just prior to the meeting next Thursday, or something, let us know. And, we could certainly, if we have to, we can meet at 4 o'clock on Thursday or Wednesday or something like that, depending on your conversations.
Well, then should I set up an agenda for a meeting and then we can just not have it because we're supposed to do that?
I mean, if you're gonna meet with him within the next couple of days, then you can, I think, just send us an email and,
Okay.
not set anything up now, but just let us know. And I know I can make myself available next Thursday prior to, and even next Wednesday afternoon if you want. So just let us know what you would like to do,
Okay.
okay? 'Cause I assume you're gonna try to get the meeting this week with Mr. Kirchner.
Yep.
And then you'll know, because we'll have plenty of time to post all of Monday's the holiday. But so you need to post on Tuesday for Thursday. If we decide to meet on Thursday, you would need to post on Tuesday.
Yep.
For Thursday meeting.
That's why I said I might send something in on Thursday because
That's fine.
I know other committees do that just as a placeholder. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
John, where are you right now? I'm fascinated by the background and what looks like palm trees.
It is. I'm in Florida.
Ah,
Oh,
I'm at my place in Florida for a couple of weeks. So my wife threw me out. She says, "Get the hell out of here. Go find someplace different." So
Work, Jim.
working, and that came down.
so I trust you voted by mail then.
Yeah, I voted a couple of weeks ago, so everything's all set.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Good to hear that. Is it hot down there?
Yeah, it's hot. like heck, It's
I've been in Florida in August and it's not a fun place to be.
I don't mind it, but it is it's hotter today than it has been the last couple of days.
Uh-huh.
It's more of a very humid hot today. So,
Yeah.
but
Well-
I've great view out my window over here, and I've
And iced tea or something like that.
exactly, yeah,
Enjoy. And a good book.
and a pool. I got a pool
Oh,
outside.
there you go.
For the community.
Well, enjoy yourself. Stay healthy, everybody.
all right. Take care,
Okay.
everybody.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.